My profound respect for my friend Bernard Harcourt was initially based on his work against the death penalty. What is most impressive about this work is not only the decades-long obsessive devotion to detail, but also the absolute absence of self-promotion, the presentation of all the awards. It's fantastic in that. In this age of extravagant self-staging, of top-down philanthropy, Harcourt asks not only what is it to help, but also who am I to help? Very important, ignored question. In this age of mistaking fundraising for activism all around us, Harcourt's work shines like a star. I'm so sorry I couldn't be at the actual book launch, but I really wanted to say this. When he became my colleague, I began to resonate with him, what Wittgenstein calls mitschwingen, resonate with him. For he, in addition to serious activism, was also committed to theorizing as an activity, as a practice, rather than something produced by mostly great men or honorary men that you learn and apply. This became clearer and clearer in the fantastic work of the Critique 1313 seminar series that he has been doing for the last few years, rethinking the theoretical as he brings the world into Columbia. I have participated, I'm fortunate enough to have participated in it as far as possible, and I hope to do so again. Now, the many levels of questioning, sedimenting and sedimented in all his work has been laid out in this extraordinarily readable text. It's fantastic to read. It's a page turner, Critique and Praxis. In our time, the entire situation of activism, class differentiated, race differentiated, gender differentiated, but also language differentiated, if you want to reach the broad-based global subaltern, the person separated from the rights of citizenship, has to be understood in a completely new way so that digitization does not betray us. In order to use the digital effectively, the task for the individual is to prepare herself or himself epistemically and critically ethically so that the collective becomes effective not just simply as a digitized crowd standing in for democracy. Harcourt's book confronts this. In my endorsement, I write, he utilizes illusion and value, makes theory and practice collide. This somewhat complicated sentence becomes crystal clear in the reading of the book. Now I want to emphasize that if we have learned a lesson from the first round of global movements for social justice, and Harcourt summarizes them well, mine would necessarily be contextually different. It is that we must focus as much on the individual as on the collective. This is not a binary, deeply politicized opposition. We must focus as much on the individual as on the collective. Tremendously difficult, but necessary. Necessary and impossible, I would say, to cite my formula. Focus as much on the individual as on the collective, a double bind. The persistent task of teaching the humanities beyond the disciplines, and no one listens to this anymore. It's too hard. The persistent task of teaching the humanities beyond the disciplines, for the trivialized disciplinarization of the humanities today is a technologization that turns each class into a toolkit. Harcourt's work makes me want to say again what I said to the World Economic Forum when I was on their committee on value. You cannot have a moral matrix from knowledge management techniques. You cannot have a moral matrix. You have to devote slow time to the nurturing of the soul. Then the person becomes capable of using the digital for social justice rather than for all of the cyber hacking and so on and all of the crimes. I mean, we now know what kinds of crimes. We're at election time. So this is what I said to the World Economic Forum, that you cannot, you have to take that slow time before you can actually develop the ethical judgment with which to use the digital well. Reading, writing of this genre, and examples are very few, should become an obligation. As the disciplines become more and more siloized, such work should be used to undo those boundaries in a responsible way, not so-called superficial interdisciplinarity. I have in my teaching discovered again and again how easy it is to do this badly. So, as the disciplines become more and more siloized, such work should be used to undo those boundaries in a responsible way. In Harcourt's work, law and the humanities are embraced in a Moebius strip. Let us call for a real readership, refusing to accept a law confused with order and humanities shackled to digitized knowledge management. Here, Bernard Harcourt is our comrade. And once again, I urge you to read this book carefully, sometimes irritated, but always rewarded. A fantastic book. Thank you.